Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unlock Tuesday live stream. We are here every single Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern, bringing you all sorts of topics from real estate. And today we have with us one of my absolute favorite people that has been part of our community. Matt, how long have you been in Rentals Made Easy? It's over a year now.
It's a little over a year. So a
Yeah.
year and 2 months, I think, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So year and 2 months, and Matt has had just an absolutely wild glow up, a wild journey into, no rentals. And we're going to talk about his portfolio, but really a bona fide real estate investor. So let me turn it over to you. If you want to give everyone a quick intro, where you're investing, a little bit about your background, kind of how you got here, and we'll take it away.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a full-time occupational therapist, and I've been trying to get out of the medical field. And so I stumbled upon some podcasts and ended up hearing Jesse on one of those podcasts. And so after hearing Jesse on one of those podcasts, I ended up trying to do one of my own things, purchase my first rental. Um, and that took me about a year to get into. So I bought that one, and then it took me about a year to rehab, which was way too long. Had no guidance, didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, we're going to
Tried to
talk
do a
about
lot of
this.
it myself.
Yeah,
So
we're going to talk about a year rehab in detail.
oh yeah, that was not the best decision, but here we are.
Yeah. So what does your portfolio look like today?
So at this time, I have 12 properties. Total doors is 28 doors over those 12 properties. It's been it's been a crazy year, to say the least. I still work part time as an occupational therapist, so one of my goals was to be able. I had set a 10-year plan to go from full time OT to no to quit my job, but I was able to drop down to part time probably about 6 months ago or something like that. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey, crazy journey.
Yeah, that's incredible. So 14 months ago, you had 0 doors and you have 28 today.
28 doors. Yeah,
Woo! Yeah, baby. And on top of those rentals, you're also doing some rehab projects where you turn around and sell.
absolutely. Got a couple. I had one of those, sold that probably about 4 weeks ago or so. That one took way too long, but we're working on the whole timing thing, so
Yeah.
getting better at that. I've got one right now that actually Jesse helped fund.
Yeah.
It's in Muncie, Indiana, and we I finally feel like I found a good contractor.
Yes.
And
Such a tricky thing that when you
yes,
get a good one, you better hold on to them.
yeah, a lot of people are asking me what contractor do you use. I'm like, they're hard to find. So trying to be. I hate to be selfish with him, but he does good work, and he's fast. So
Awesome.
we're coming up. We'll be finished probably Thursday of this week. So 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks of rehab.
On how big of how much was the scope?
So the scope was $35,000.
Okay.
It's turned into $43,000, which is fine. I budgeted an extra 10,000 anyway, so things are fine.
Yeah.
So
I mean, still though, 43K in less than 4 weeks is a great pace. We like to
yeah,
say $1,000 a day is a pretty safe pace for a GC. So it sounds like they're ahead of that pace, which is fantastic.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's ready to go on the next project. I've already bought that one in cash, and he's ready to go. So as soon as this one's done, we're moving on to the next.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So let's go back for a second and let's kind of talk about that first deal that you did that ended up taking a year. What were the hangups? Why did it take so long?
Yeah, so I tried to do a lot of DIY, trying to save costs by doing DIY, and found out the hard way that that's probably not always the best way to go. If somebody can get done, $35 to $45,000 worth of work in 3.5 weeks, and it's taken me, a year between my full time job and everything else to go through 25. I mean, it's just not worth the holding costs to hang on and pay that monthly payment and insurance costs and not have a rental income at
Yeah.
all. It's so much faster and so much easier and so much better to do. Find the right team to help you along the way.
Could you imagine trying to DIY the 28 that you have?
No, no,
It sounds,
I don't have time for that.
yeah,
I do not have
physically
time for that.
impossible.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
crazy to try.
So you can do one in a year, or you can hire the right
Do
people.
27 more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. So super, super impressive. So now today that your business is kind of up and rolling, where are you finding your deals?
So I've actually made a couple of relationships with some wholesalers, two wholesalers. They bring me every deal they have that they find, because at the right price we can make the deals work. So
Yeah.
um, you know, between so I'm located in Fortville, Indiana, which is about, I'd say, 25 minutes northeast of Indianapolis, and then I invest northeast of where I am. So I'm not in Indianapolis per se to invest, but I do invest in Anderson, Indiana, Muncie, Indiana, all these smaller outlying communities, just because the price point for entry is much
You're
a bit
saying,
lower.
Matt, you're saying so many things that I want to hit on.
I
So
know.
no, it's so good. So first, you're saying that you can buy this volume of deals with two wholesale relationships.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if y'all are listening, two wholesale relationships, do you think now, depending on the market, you may need more than that, but say it's 5. Do you think you can manage 5 wholesaler relationships? Yes. The answer is absolutely yes. Yeah. So that's fantastic. Another thing that you're saying that I repeat all the time to our students is, I hear, well, there's too much competition and the prices are too high. Y'all get outside of the major metros. If you are buying only in Columbus or only in Indianapolis and you're ignoring these little cities, kind of suburbs, bedroom communities, whatever you want to call them, you are walking away from 28 deals.
Well, I mean, and at the same time, if you look at, where things are expanding, I'm trying to buy where things are going, not where things are. So, if you look at Indianapolis, you have Carmel, which is a very, I would say, a Class A neighborhood. Up into Westfield, go on north, that's also a Class A neighborhood. And then I would say 20 to 30 minutes to the east of Westfield is a small town called Alexandria, Indiana.
Okay.
And that's where I've got a mixed use property, and it's five residential and 3 commercial. And
Cool.
it's finally full and completely renovated. So we're working on the cash out refi on that one. But over the last year, that town went from 5,000 registered people to now 6,000 registered. So
Percentage wise, that's
yeah,
huge.
it's growing. So I try and buy in the direct path of where things are going.
Yeah.
I like college cities. Anderson University is in Anderson, Indiana, not Anderson, South Carolina, Anderson, Indiana.
Okay.
And then my wife teaches at Ball State in Muncie. So, you want to guaranteed renters, find a college town.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So small college town outside of major metros and 2 wholesale relationships. And you're seeing volume that a lot of people, in Columbus, I can say for sure, that are not seeing. So maybe just a little shift in your strategy. If y'all are out there saying that there are no deals, I'm telling you that there are deals. And Matt is a prime example of going out and finding them.
And also, don't be afraid to ask, do you have anything else? That's how I ended up with six of my properties. Was a guy was selling a duplex, and we got to talking about what our goals were. He was moving out to Oregon, and he wanted to offload his entire portfolio, and so we came up with a deal that worked for everybody. Had some growing pains through it, but I would say that was a major success in what we were able to purchase off of him,
Yeah.
moving forward. So
Would it be real estate if there weren't growing pains? Would
nope,
you? Yeah. Would it?
nope.
Would it be fun at all if it was just too easy?
You just jump in with both feet and
Yeah.
find the right people to help you swim along. So
Yeah. I love it. So I want to talk about your path from full time to part time because I know when we first met, your goal is to become a full time real estate investor. let's
Absolutely.
talk about what did you need in place to actually make that jump to go part-time? And then we'll talk about full-time
So through
next.
yeah, so through the unlocked process, I've never been a fan of social media, of people asking for money on social media. Hasn't been my thing. I hate it, hate seeing it, but I thought I'd give it a chance. So ended up posting on social media what I was doing through the unlock program. Ended up connecting with a friend of a friend, um, who said, hey man, I'm looking to expand my portfolio from North Carolina. So I grew up in North Carolina, so I have friends out in North Carolina that wanted to get out of the North Carolina market, which is pretty hot as well,
Yeah.
especially Asheville, Morganton, Hickory. Um, they wanted to get their, expand up into Indiana. And so we got to talking, and that was the first guy. And then he said he had a cousin and a friend that wanted to invest. And through all of that relationships and talking, we ended up raising about $722,000,
Woo,
which was
baby.
insane. And at that point, I just kind of had to step back and be like, okay, I have things to manage now. So
Yeah.
it's been, we've paid back a couple investors. We're in the process of I mean, they're willing to continue to invest based on the returns that we were able to work out, just right off the top.
So you're telling me that you don't like social media. Do you like social media now?
I'll definitely post on social media now. I'll take it.
Yeah. And so
It's
I
worth a
know that
shot. It's worth a shot.
I push all of our students, and I know I push you to actually get out there and post because, everyone thinks you're asking for money, but you're not asking for money. You're providing an opportunity. And
Right.
your audience, they saw that. They saw the opportunity. And it sounds like you have repeat lenders. Are you using hard money at all? Or are you all private money?
I am using hard money just to help grow faster.
Cool.
So now, in the process of looking for more contractors, because the deal flow, I would say, is amazing. Between the wholesaler creating that relationship, I tell them, look, if the money works for you, if the numbers work, I don't care about your wholesale fee.
Yeah.
And I've even gone a step farther and say, hey, if you can bring your wholesale fee down to like $5,000 a deal, I can buy more deals from you, just from talking to them. And so, from the same wholesaler, we've gone, it's just been nuts. It's been crazy. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So you're using hard and private money.
Mhm.
Are you buying off the MLS at all or just the wholesalers?
I look on the MLS daily, but the deals don't compare. The numbers don't compare to buying off market right now.
Okay. Cool. And then as far as like your entity setup and all that, how was that process for you? Any hiccups?
That's been fine here in Indiana. I mean, it's easy to do online, through the Secretary of State website. You can just apply for it, and I think it's like $89 to set up an LLC or something, and off you go.
Cool.
So I've got two separate LLCs just because of who's involved in what deal, and yeah,
Right.
so a lot to manage. But
And y'all, before Matt joined us, or I'm sorry, he joined before we implemented what we call boot camp. And it's basically everything you need to get rent or offer ready. And so it's your financing, your deal sourcing, your entity creation, your team building. We were talking about contractors. It's all these things that you need to go out and start making offers. And we push you through all that in the first 30 days. Like that's your boot camp. Sorry, pickles. And so Matt didn't even, you've been with us longer than boot camp existed, but you still got through all that stuff and you were offer ready. How was the difference between that first year-long project that you did and the first one you made after going through, all of our setup and all that?
I mean, I'd say the difference. I mean, the difference is the resources, and using the tools that have been provided through Unlocked, to help. Just, I mean, it's all there for you. I mean, the community's been great. You guys have been great. Um, it makes a big difference when you're working with somebody who knows what they're doing versus trying to make it on your own. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the whole experience has been, I would say, beyond anything I could have imagined. So
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
want to ask because I know when you were first starting this, your family and the wife maybe weren't totally on board. It was like, hey, Matt, this is pretty risky. Like, what are you thinking? What's the reaction now?
I think I've convinced my family, my parents. I've kind of, my dad retired and I put him right back to work, helping with like yard work and general handyman maintenance and things like that. So um, my mom does a lot. My mom helps a lot with the accounting and receipts and all that management. So it's kind of a small team that
I love that.
I've convinced them that this is the way to go, not only for my family but for their future as well. Especially being in the OT world, it's like, guys, we gotta, you know, assisted living is expensive, guys. I can't take care of you forever, type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Let your assets take care of them and have that
exactly,
peace of mind.
and the I strongly remember our first conversation was, with, what are your goals? I'm like, maybe two rentals in the next year or so.
I
And
told you.
your response was, go
Yeah.
higher, go higher.
You can do more.
I think it was 10. And we said it at 10. I thought you were crazy, but here we are. So,
Oh my gosh, I love that. My heart's like beating. I'm so proud. I knew that you had been doing a ton, but I don't think I fully knew what was going on behind the
yeah,
scenes.
things are busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. So what would you actually need to make real estate your full-time career?
I think it'd be really hard. I mean, I say it'd be hard to leave the W-2, only because I'm able to support the family on the W-2. So everything I'm doing outside of real estate, or everything I'm doing outside of the W-2 right now, especially for the business, just goes straight back into the business. So, while the partners that I have said, hey, Matt, you know, we'll pay you X amount of money to just, completely do, but I've told them, I'm like, I'm fine doing with what we're doing right now. Let's put all the money we're making back into the business and continue to grow at the pace that we're growing. So that's, so that we can just continue to grow and get that, generational wealth versus
Yeah.
just, I mean, could I pay myself a little bit more? Absolutely. But at the same time, I don't feel the need, especially when that extra money can go to, helping somebody else that needs the help, that's one of my passions, is being able to help those who cannot afford housing get into some sort of safe, affordable, functional housing.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I mean, with the OT background, you definitely know that you're a helper and that's a hard job to begin with. So definitely, yeah, commend you for that. And so you're saying, is it like a number of units? Is it like, I mean, is it just a mindset shift? Like what do we need to take this full time, and how much more could you do if you were full time?
I can't imagine what I could do if I was full time. I think at some point it's just going to be a jumping point of trusting the skills and the business that you've built. Because I wouldn't say I would go completely everything DIY again, but I think it would allow me to jump in at certain DIY points to be able to pay myself or something,
Right.
within the business.
Yeah.
So there's ideas that are being tossed around. It's just,
Okay.
we're not quite there yet, I think, but I think within the next, I say 2 years, but I think it'll be sooner.
Yeah. Last time I told you up, and this time I'll tell you down less.
Yeah. Yeah. Slow down a little bit.
Yeah. No, I love it. Okay. So then it sounds like this is, I mean, it's all going so well. Like, what are some tips and tricks for managing the part-time and real estate investor? Like, how are you I mean, we see your kids' backpacks. How are you managing family and job and real estate? Like, how are you managing it all?
I'm pretty intentional about where I put my time.
Okay.
Very intentional about that. I started real estate to give myself more time with the family, and I don't want it to turn into, less time with the family because I'm in real estate. So, oh my gosh, that's my new MacBook talking to me down here.
You're fine.
Press Command F5 now to turn it on and set
Oh, sorry. Hang on just a second. It's still talking to me. This is ridiculous.
Lizzie,
that's so funny.
you're fine. Well, while you stepped away, Lizzie was saying that she checked your original goal and you wanted to get one under contract in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, think we
I
did
did
it. I think we did it.
Achieved.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we were saying tips and tricks to
Yeah.
manage all of life with real estate.
Be intentional about your time.
Okay.
Just be intentional. If you want to take a vacation, don't hope and say, I want to take this vacation. Plan it. Put it on the books. If you want to go to North Carolina and visit family, put it on the books. If you want to go see friends, put it on the books. Don't wait and say, oh, well, call me when you want to get together. Nobody's ever going to call you. Like, it's just it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
It just,
I'm
it
good.
just
I'm
doesn't.
good at putting it on the books. My
Yeah.
year is packed out with vacations.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'd be my thing. Just be intentional with your time.
I love it.
Because we have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, which is hard to believe. And the next thing I know, I mean, they'll be out the door, and I don't even want to think about that. But
Are you teaching them real estate?
my son loves to. My son loves to come along sometimes. My daughter loves to see a lot of the houses that we do. The first house that I bought here in Fortville. We ended up having to take the floors all up, like rip all the floors up, subfloor up.
Oh, gosh.
And my daughter, and she had never seen, I mean, what the inside of a house looks like, and so she goes in there and has no floors whatsoever. She's in gymnastics, and she had a great time walking across all the beams and whatnot on the floor.
Oh, fun.
Obviously I was there with her, so it was safe,
Yeah.
but she
You never
calls that
saw her
house,
again.
yeah, she calls that house the balance house now.
Aw.
So, yeah.
I love it. You've truly made this a family affair.
I mean, you've got to. I mean, if you want, that's just so. There are so many learning opportunities within real estate. You just got to get that. You just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easier said than done, but I mean, it's just, if you don't try, why not try? It's just go.
It's never going to happen.
No.
It's never going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to ask you at the end to leave our audience with the best advice. But that was a really, really good piece of advice right there, y'all, is if you don't just start doing it, nothing's ever going to happen. You're going to look back in 5 years and be like, shoot, I should have done some real estate. Like, that was the time, So, but before we get to that, I want to hear from you. What's like throughout this past 14 months, what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes that you've made?
I would say time. I say be intentional with your time as a learning thing, but I've also been the worst at being intentional with my time. Especially when it comes to, hey, I want to DIY that, or I get this little bug in my head that says, hey, let me jump in there. This will be cheaper if I get in there and if I do it. And I've just, I've had to let that go. And as much as I want to be a part of the rehab process, my time elsewhere is so much more important.
Yeah. Do you think that, after so many times making the same mistake, have you learned it officially?
I don't think so. I still think there's, going to be times when I'm be like, no, let me jump in, and I've asked my contractor, is there anything I can do to jump in? And he goes, he says, no, Mateo, go away.
Yeah, Matt, go away. I get told that all the time with my teams. They're like, Jesse, just leave. We're better. Like, we're more efficient without you poking your hands and, everything I'm not supposed to be in. Right. Get your hand out of the cookie jar and let us do our jobs. And things are so much smoother.
Yes.
Yeah. Love it.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that you have had a good GC, you're looking for more, you're kind of growing the team. Talk to me about how you found that role, or really any role, because that is one I hear all the time is like, I don't know if there's a contractor to trust. Like, you were totally new to the business. You were doing it yourself. How did you finally find someone to trust, that you trust, to take on this work for you?
Funny enough, it came from Facebook and social media. Ugh.
It's always social media.
Always social media. And I was looking for somebody to complete a punch list for me. And he reached out and said, I can do that punch list for you. And I told him how I worked, and I'm not paying any money down. I will buy materials. Once the job is done, I'm happy to schedule draws, but I'm not I'm not paying you any money because I learned that lesson the hard way too. But
We all have. We all have.
Yeah.
You're not a real investor until you got scammed at least one point.
Yeah. And it hurt, but I could have let that kill things, or have been like, or we can just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So found him on Facebook, one of the Indiana investor groups, and we met up at a local coffee shop and had the conversations and showed him the contracts, and he was like, "Well, this is very thorough." I'm like, "It has to be, has to be." Yes, at some point we can be friends, but right now you'd be a contractor. Period.
Yeah.
And so once he learned I was serious and that I paid on time, and once the job was done, with that relationship with MM Lending, shout out to them.
Yeah, big shout out.
They fund draws same day, and if you can fund draws same day and then get your contractor paid the same day, contractors love you. It makes things so much smoother. And he understands that when the job's done, he's going to get paid. If it's done right. So.
Yep, exactly right. And then what are you doing to check the work before a draw? Or are you going on pictures? Are you walking it yourself?
It depends on where it is. If it's close enough, I'll walk it myself. A lot of times I say, send me at minimum 20 photos of the work that you did for each thing. So, sometimes it may be, he may be sending me 80 photos, but I want to see it. I don't want to, because what's gotten me into trouble with my last contractor, why he was fired, was lack of attention to detail.
Yep.
So
that's a great tip for any remote investors. We're actually doing a rehab project down in Texas right now. I've mentioned before, it's on the street I grew up on. It was like my childhood best friend. Her parents were selling after 40 something years and reached out to me. So we're rehabbing that house. And I'm doing a remote. It's $100,000+ project, and we're doing it remote. I have my boots on the ground that I have go by at once a week. She sends me 100 photos every single week of this job. And everything looks good. Draw comes in for my contractor, go ahead and pay him. So it sounds like this strategy is something that could be used. I mean, you're basically doing remote, even though they're in Indiana.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, Muncie is probably 45 minutes from us. And, if you're driving up 45 minutes every week, that's an hour and a half of your time that you're burning, that you could be doing other important tasks. Yeah, that's just the drive. Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of times if I do have to go check on a project, I would say, I'm going up there and checking on the other tenants that I have in that area too. So it's not just a 45-minute drive for, to look at a draw.
Right. Yeah, so. Exactly right. These have been amazing tips, like really, really good stuff. If you could leave the audience with one piece of advice, what would you tell them?
So I'll go back to the saying that we talked about very early on. You got to jump brave, you got to jump scared. Either way, you got to jump. So I would say get out there, find the numbers. Even if the numbers aren't 100% perfect, get one under your belt and you learn. And, just start.
Yeah. Just start.
Because once you start, I mean, you either swim or you sink, and most people want to swim. So, with a team like Jesse and Lizzie, the relationship and the community here, you're not gonna sink. You're not gonna sink.
No.
So
yeah, we won't let you sink. If you show up and you ask the questions and you ask for help, we will not let you sink. So. Well, very, very cool. I appreciate your time being here. I am immensely proud of everything that you've put together. And what did we say? One contract in the next 6 months.
Yeah, one contract. 28 doors. Yeah.
28 doors plus. I mean, how many rehabs have you done? At least a handful.
3 full rehabs. So working on my 4th.
Yep. So yeah, and 4 full flips. So 30 something projects in the last 14 months it's unreal. I, again, am so incredibly proud of you. We're here for you every step of the way. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I
Yeah.
can't say that enough.
Thank
But,
you. Thank you.
yeah.
So y'all, if you want to join Matt in Rentals Made Easy, which is our, I was asking, what do you want to do in the next 6 months? It's a 6-month program. We get you through boot camp in that 30 days. We help you analyze all the deals that you're looking at. You, get through the finding your contractors, getting your rehab scopes, getting the property renovated, finding the best renters. We didn't even touch on renters. Have you had trouble finding renters, or it's been pretty smooth sailing?
So I'm not renting everything at market rent. So it's been pretty smooth sailing, because that's one thing that I, pride the company on, is that we are not at market rents for everybody. Depending on the areas, we do have midterm rentals. And I like to use those to offset the rent from some of the lower income people that really can't afford.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So you have a mission as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're trying to take care of the community. So that's,
Wow. Yeah, that's so good. That's so
are.
good. So we're going to help you get through renting, finding the best people, whether you're at market or you're providing, a service for the community, get through that refinance process, and then really kind of get a big picture view of how that project worked out, so you can go out and do it again and again and again. So it's Rentals Made Easy. It's a 6-month program. You can stay on afterwards, like Matt's still in the community, so you can stay on if it's something that you love. And Lizzie just dropped the link in the YouTube channel and on the Facebook group. If you guys want to apply, and we'll have a conversation. Oh gosh, I don't know, the thumbs down. We'll have a conversation, see if you're a good fit, see kind of where you are and if we can help. And yeah, would love to work with you. So Matt, we'll see you on our next call, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See ya.